Welcome to Reverent and Rebellious, a safe space for faith-based conversations on the things that nobody seems to want to talk about these days. We are reverent, we value truth, we elevate scripture, but we are also rebellious. We shatter myths and we destroy dogma, so jump in. Join us, Logan, Pat, and me, the brother Peter, as we get reverent and we get rebellious.
What's up?
What's up?
Hey.
We have another special guest with us today, Logan.
We're just keeping people on their toes.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, that's the fun way to do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Bentley Jones.
Hey,
which is one of the coolest names.
That
ever.
is. I feel like that's a musician kind of name.
It absolutely is. Or, a car dealership.
Yes,
Because,
yes.
A Bentley. Yeah,
Never
like a
heard
roll.
Never heard that one.
I'm showing my age here. Yeah. Used to, back in the day, it was your status symbol if you had a Rolls Royce or a Bentley.
A Bentley, yep.
Yeah. So there you go.
They're the Aston Martin.
How did you get your name?
Oh, I don't know.
I mean, is there a history?
He was so young when they named him.
I've heard a couple different stories. I think a lady who cut my mom's hair while she was pregnant with me somehow mentioned Bentley. Her name was Bentley. Her son's whatever. I think that's the story.
So your name came out of a haircut.
Yes.
That is quite a story. That is a little Reverend and Rebellious.
There you go.
There.
Yes,
absolutely.
it is.
Yes, I love it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that is.
How did you get your name, Logan?
Logan's Run.
What?
You ever seen that movie?
Oh, yeah. Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I think my dad, I'm pretty sure he had watched Logan's Run or something. Is that, who's in that movie?
Man, I can't remember now. You're asking the wrong movie guy.
I know,
Are
but
you a movie guy?
I'm not.
See,
No,
I'm
sorry.
not either.
Man, I'm outnumbered tonight.
Yep, you are. Yep.
Yeah.
You're going to have to provide all of the movie content
Yeah, you got
for this
it.
whole episode.
Well, that's how my brain works, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it came from Logan's Run. If I
Logan's
remember right.
Run. So, I'm sitting in between two guys whose parents, it's like usually you'd have my great-grandfather on my mother's side was in the Civil War, and he led the charge, and it was known as the Battle of Bentley. And
Fair enough.
You go. No.
My middle name
Yeah.
comes from the man right there up on the wall. That's my grandfather in World War II.
Nice.
It's Curtis, Logan Curtis Hanks.
Okay.
Where'd you get your name?
Well, mine's a biblical name. It absolutely.
yeah,
I mean,
so that's cheating.
It just straight up,
That's
the
kinda
apostle.
cheating.
It is kind of.
I
It is
agree.
kind of cheating.
Yeah.
But it's interesting because my middle name is Lynn.
Okay, where's that?
There was a guy. He was a biblical writer, theologian, whatever. And my mom and dad in Bible college, they read this book by Peter Lynn Hayes, and my dad just went, you know what?
Peter Lynn.
I like that.
Yeah.
And so I got my middle name out of a book. So
Nice.
There you go.
And the first name.
And the first name.
I was going to say Peter Lynn. I mean,
Out of the book. Yeah.
yeah.
No, they knew they wanted to name me Peter, but they didn't know the middle name until later. So
There you go.
There you go.
There's our name origin. What's your middle name, Bentley?
So, Bentley is my middle name.
Okay,
Oh.
you're one of those.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm one of those. So Robert is my first name. And that
Okay.
actually comes from both of my great-grandfathers on both sides. First name was
On
Robert.
both sides.
Wow.
Yeah, and they both didn't go by Robert.
That is
So you
totally
just
crazy.
continued the lineage.
Yes. So,
So what did they go by?
Bob and Gene.
Wow.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Yeah.
See, that is the weird thing. When I first moved to Tennessee and spent any time with anybody, that was like the weirdest thing I could ever think of, because so many people will name their kids something and then they say, but we're not going to call him that.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you name him something that you're not going to call him?
So I kind of feel like you're firing shots because I
I
got
am a little
I got
bit.
my little boy on the way, and
See, you're going to do that, aren't you?
Ridley, and I'm
See?
not calling him Robert.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah.
It's no way to treat a guest.
Yeah, we're gonna give him a phantom name.
Yes, we're giving a brutal welcome to Bentley on the show tonight.
No,
I love it.
actually, I'm from the Pacific Northwest, and they're just not inventive people, honestly. This is your name, and that's what we're gonna call you.
Yeah, you're
period.
just sticking with that. Yep.
That's it. We're not gonna abbreviate it. We're not gonna do nothing. That's who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So,
we
I respect
want
that.
you guys. We want to know your names. we want you to comment your names to us below, and if you got a cool story, I want to hear what you're like. I want somebody to be like, yeah, I want someone named Gene, and I want them to be like, my parents were big Kiss Gene Simmons fans, and he spit blood on the crowd, and some got on my dad's shirts. Like, I want to hear your name stories. So if you're watching this,
and while you're doing that,
you need to hit that like button, hit subscribe, and comment below to us. And also, we want you to go to Spotify and Apple and leave us 5-star ratings.
And here's the deal too, is I looked at the Spotify analytics. Okay, so this is going to be a challenge that we're going to throw out here.
All right.
Okay, so I understand that everybody has their, kind of platform that they listen or watch on, right? So there's Spotify, there's Apple, there's Amazon, and then of course we got the video on YouTube and all that kind of stuff. But we are currently at 76 followers on Spotify.
Oh, we got to get to 100.
No, well, I looked at the analytics and I kind of got depressed a little bit because podcasts of our genre typically have 256 followers.
Oh man, we got to bump those numbers up.
Yeah. So here's the deal: even if you don't listen to us on Spotify, if you never ever go to Spotify, if you barely even know what Spotify is, go to Spotify, find the podcast, and follow it.
Yes.
Yeah, you'll get a little notification, but you get notifications out of everything.
Yep.
So just add that to your list of notifications you get every week, and let's bump that number up. Let's get it up to the mid range there, 256 or 265, somewhere in there.
See, and I'm one of those guys. I follow it on everything.
I do too. I subscribe on everything. So that's your challenge. Spotify.
Are you a follower on Spotify, Bentley?
As when are we finishing tonight?
He will be tonight.
Before I pull out of here, we'll get it done.
We'll be on Spotify. Yeah. So anyway, it just helps our overall reach.
It does.
And every possible way we can reach a little bit further. That's exactly what we're trying to do. So there you go.
Absolutely.
So anything phenomenal happening in the world today? I mean, this is our banter section, so
I'm just happy to be here.
Okay.
Hey, I thought as I was pulling in today, and you'll appreciate this. I thought, wow, I feel like the high A or double A arm that gets caught up to the big leagues because of maybe an injury or whatever.
That's exactly right.
I was like, I know I'm going back down, but I'm going to enjoy it while I'm here.
But you never know, see, you got to, you're one of those budding prospects.
That's right.
And so you get one shot to show what you can really do.
Probably referring to like the 34, 35-year-old that's made a career.
Oh, that's a good one.
In the high
you are the Crash Davis of this podcast. Yes, exactly. You probably don't know who Crash.
I don't know who Crash Davis is.
This is a movie.
I'm
reference.
A movie, but like, what movie are you talking about?
I'm talking about Bull Durham, the greatest baseball movie of all time.
I have seen that, but it's been a long time.
Oh yeah, Kevin Costner is Crash Davis. He has the record for the most home runs by a minor leaguer, which means absolutely nothing.
Now, isn't that a true story?
It's based loosely on a true story.
Yeah,
somewhat. Yeah. In Nashville, we used to joke around a lot about you have all the CMA awards and all these various different award shows and all this stuff. And my best buddy, he used to when we would do a lot of work in the studio doing demos for songwriters. Yeah. So these are not like master tracks or anything. Songwriters get an idea, they write a song, and they need a band. They go into a studio. We would sometimes cut 6 or 8 songs in one day. They're all demos, and somebody would have to sing what they call a scratch vocal, because they have to have all the tracks done before they put the final vocal on. Okay. But somebody has to sing a scratch vocal so that it keeps everybody knows where they are. Yeah. And my best buddy used to joke around and say, "Yeah, I'm up for scratch vocalist of the
year." Yeah, very. I mean, but it's an important role.
Well, yeah, you can't do without it.
I was going to say, you got.
But then it's also, you don't really have to be very good either.
Yeah.
So.
Well, but see, you're very important tonight.
That's exactly right.
I'm glad.
That's exactly right. Absolutely.
Yes, we got Crash Davis with us tonight in the studio.
Yeah.
I wonder how Crash got his name.
That is what I would like to know.
I think it actually kind of says it in the movie, but I couldn't tell you what it is right now because I slept too many days since then. Yeah. So,
before we do that, you got something funny to tell us.
I do, but I wanted to ask if we had any comments.
Yeah, I forget, man.
I know
I'm not used to having to do this.
Pat.
Let me see.
You didn't tell Bentley to do it, so
I know. I should have. I should have just thrown the ball.
That could have been his big debut.
Should have.
I know.
That's how we would have tested you. All right. Let's see. What episode was that? 103?
Yep.
Okay.
I know we got a few because I read a few.
Of course. It's taking
spinning wheel of death.
A very long time. There we go. All right. Oh yeah, we got 3 here. Okay, Miss Julie comments, Mercy, I'm glad Raymond doesn't own a donkey. Y'all know I'm mean as ever and my house is paid for. I'm not leaving. I know the Holy Ghost has got me covered. As far as spirits I've encountered, they scared the hell out of me as a kid, and I'm learning. Trouble is coming and Jesus is preparing me.
All right.
I get that.
She pretty much covered the whole podcast.
She did.
To the very end.
She did. And she said, Logan, after 37 years of driving from Brooks Road to Munford every day, the early mornings are much worse than evening because the only thing open is McDonald's and Fraser at 4:30 a.m. Yeah, there's not a lot open at that point.
Sounds like she's maybe had a couple of episodes similar to what you had.
I wonder if she was in a semi.
Probably not.
And that's
she was probably in a semi-state of panic.
Yes, I was in a full-blown state of panic.
Yeah, exactly.
Amber, she comments, great semi-story, Logan. Hilarious joke, PJ.
All right.
PJ,
Yeah.
I got that for you.
Yeah.
And then she commented again, one ghost encounter. Call the exorcist, bring a barrel of holy water and 5-gallon bucket of anointing oil. If it occurs again, then I am out. Reminds me of the Bell Witch, and we know that did not end well at all.
That is true. We did a whole episode including the Bell Witch, didn't we?
Yep. Yeah. Now that's, I think I could go with, I would probably be on board with Amber. Bentley, I'm going to pose the question to you. I asked, I guess it was last weekend.
Yep.
I asked if your house, now let's say this is like your dream house, you and your wife, y'all have built your house where you want it, like the location's perfect, you love the house. And then one night, like maybe your wife and kids are out of town and you're by yourself, and then just a light just turns on by itself, like back in the back. And, it's kind of subtle, but you're like, well, that's weird. Maybe you write it off, but then like some doors open and close and you have a little ghostly encounter. How much would you put up with before you'd be like, we got to get out of this house?
I'm probably going to stay with Mama.
That first.
That's not a bad idea.
Yeah. So
we're going to let that air out for a bit.
Would you sell the house? Would you be done with it?
Oh, goodness gracious.
My wife said
how long does it?
Oh, it doesn't ever stop.
Oh yeah.
Unless Peter, I mean, I don't know, like, because I think you said you would probably perform basically an exorcism. What I think I said, that just makes it worse. Yeah. Because then you've angered it.
Only for a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, it might get really, really weird for a minute. But ultimately, I mean, we're told we have authority over those things.
That's true.
Yep.
That's true. See, my wife was one and done. She was like, if I'm here and the lights go off or like do something like that, she said, I'm getting out.
As soon as that vase crashes off the counter.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
There you go. So, all right, guys.
So I do have something funny for us.
I want to hear it.
Okay. Okay. A husband trying to be romantic.
All right.
Sent his wife a text. This is so sappy. It's cool. If you are sleeping, send me your dreams. If you are laughing, send me your smile. If you are eating, send me a bite. If you are drinking, send me a sip. If you are crying, send me your tears. I love you. The wife says, I'm on the toilet. Please advise.
That is a good one. Yes.
That's a good one.
Again, I didn't know where it was going, but that's good. I do like that one. I do. And Peter said that I would especially like that one.
I just thought that was up your alley.
I'm not sure if I should be offended or if that's just
There's no backstory.
Well, I don't know if there is. I don't know.
Logan would like this one for
Yes.
sure.
No, it's just funny because we talk every now and then about how, it's like We're kind of regular guys. We don't like go sappy romantic very often, but
Sure.
every now and then, you
Try to be
put
romantic.
yourself out there, and this would be something that we
That
would
would be my luck. I'd be like, man, I'm going to really wow her with this. Yeah, and she's like, yeah, I'm in the bathroom.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be my luck.
Tell me what you want.
Yes. Yeah, for sure.
So anyway, what we're getting into today is it's kind of along the lines of our series we did on weird things in the Bible.
Yeah.
In fact, I think we probably brushed by this little episode in passing a couple of times, but we're going to drill down on it today.
We definitely hit on this one in our Revelation.
Oh yeah, because
breakdown.
you can't read through this without, and we'll see this, in this whole thing too.
Yep.
Bentley, what do you know about Ezekiel 1?
Well, I know there is a vision.
And
or Ezekiel sees something.
He absolutely does.
Yes. And it's interesting.
It is. There's crazy stuff in this vision.
There's a lot going on.
That's putting it lightly, yes.
Yeah. And so there's this whole sort of culture around Ezekiel 1. Different people, you know how Christians are, especially, they're going to interpret it. They're going to see things in it.
Yeah.
And then there's the non-Christians who see completely other things in it. So, have you ever read through Ezekiel 1?
Yes.
And what was your first impression?
Wow.
I was like, what was this guy on?
So my wife asked before we come over here, what are you guys going through Ezekiel 1? And she said, okay, what does it say? I was like, well,
you got a minute?
I'm going to have to read it to you because I don't even know how to describe what.
I know. And so we're gonna read this vision. Now, keep in mind, Ezekiel is a prophet.
Yeah.
He's also a priest, which is very important. And he is in Babylon. He was one of those that got ripped out of Jerusalem and transported to Babylon. But he is not in the big house with Daniel and Shadrach and Meshach and Abednego. He did not get the royal treatment. He got the peasant treatment. Yep. And so he's down in a van by the river.
He's slumming it, man.
Yeah,
nice.
He is. And he's trying to, comfort these Israelites, and they're upset. If you read, I forget which number of Psalm it is about, by the river of Babylons, we wept and we hung up our harps because nobody wants to sing and all this stuff. So that's what he's dealing with. And out of the blue, he gets this vision. And this is
of aliens and UFOs and everything else.
Yeah. So I'm going to read it. I'm going to read the whole thing.
Let's go.
Because you got to really hear this in order to get the gist of it. So it says, I'm reading from NASB 95, God's approved version. It says, now it came about in the 30th year on the 5th day of the 4th month. Now there's a lot of dates in here. And this is how we can kind of discern some things with precision. 5th day of the 4th month, 30th year on the 5th day of the 4th month, while I was by the river Kabar among the exiles. The heavens were opened, and I saw visions of God. On the 5th month, in the 5th year of King Jehoiakim's exile, the word of the Lord came expressly to Ezekiel the priest, son of Buzi, who is very bougie, in the land of the Chaldeans by the river Kabar, and there the hand of the Lord came upon him. And as I looked, behold, a storm wind was coming from the north, a great cloud with fire flashing forth continually, and a bright light around it, and in its midst something like glowing metal in the midst of the fire. And within it there were figures resembling 4 living beings, and this was their appearance. They had human form. Each of them had 4 faces and 4 wings, and their legs were straight, and their feet were like calf's hoof, and they gleamed like burnished bronze. Under their wings, on their 4 sides, were human hands. And as for the faces and the wings of the 4 of them, their wings touched one another. Their faces did not turn when they moved. Each went straight forward. As for the form of their faces, each had the face of a man. All 4 had the face of a lion on the right and the face of a bull on the left, and all 4 had the face of an eagle. Such were their faces. Their wings were spread out above. Each had 2 touching another being, and 2 covering their bodies. And each went straight forward. Wherever the Spirit was about to go, they would go without turning as they went. In the midst of the living beings, there was something that looked like burning coals of fire, like torches darting back and forth among the living beings. The fire was bright and lightning was flashing from the fire. And the living beings ran to and fro like bolts of lightning. Now, as I looked at the living beings, behold, there was one wheel on the earth beside the living beings, for each of the 4 of them. There's the flying saucers, by the way. The appearance of the wheels and their workmanship was like sparkling beryl, and all four of them had the same form, their appearance and workmanship being as if one wheel were within another. Whenever they moved in any of their four directions without turning as they moved. As for their rims, they were lofty and awesome, and the rims of all four of them were full of eyes round about. By the way, there are some that translate the word rims hubcaps.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So just a little extra visual there.
So it was a Lincoln Continental.
That's exactly right. And whenever the living beings moved, the wheels moved with them. And whenever the living beings rose from the earth, the wheels rose also. Wherever the spirit was about to go, they would go in that direction. And the wheels rose close beside them, for the spirit of the living beings was in the wheels. Whenever those went, these went. And whenever those stood still, these stood still. And whenever those rose from the earth, the wheels rose close beside them, for the spirit of the living beings was in the wheels. Now over the heads of the living beings there was something like an expanse, like the awesome gleam of crystal extended over their heads. And under the expanse their wings were stretched out straight, one toward the other. Each one also had two wings covering their bodies on one side and on the other. I also heard the sound of their wings, like the sound of abundant waters as they went, like the voice of the Almighty, a sound of tumult, like the sound of an army camp. Whenever they stood still, they dropped their wings, and there came a voice from above the expanse that was over their heads. Whenever they stood still, they dropped their wings. Now above the expanse that was over their heads, there was something resembling a throne, like lapis lazuli in appearance. And on that which resembled a throne, high up, was a figure with the appearance of a man. Then I noticed from the appearance of his loins and upward, something like glowing metal that looked like fire all around within it. And from the appearance of his loins and downward, I saw something like fire, and there was a radiance around him. As the appearance of the rainbow in the clouds on a rainy day, so was the appearance of the surrounding radiance. Such was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of the Lord. And when I saw it, I fell on my face and heard a voice speaking, and changed my underdrawers.
Yes. Yes.
I added that last one. Okay, so first impression, Logan. Yeah, what do you see? What's he seeing here?
I've been a little skewed after watching the video.
Yeah,
because now that's what my mind is conjuring.
Mm-hmm. Gave you pictures.
Yep. Yeah, and it's which is probably kind of what my brain would have almost imagined, because it does. It's a really bizarre looking wheels, and it has eyes on it, and then the creatures, the four faces is always when I've struggled, because I'm like, so is that like a face on each? The faces are on each side, like. So I've always kind of struggled with that as far as trying to wrap my mind around what it looks like.
Yeah. Any ideas?
Yeah. So I looked up the same photos. I probably saw one very similar to you, and it was nuts. But I do have a question.
Yes.
As I was reading through this, as for the likeness of their faces, each had a human face. The four had the face of a lion, the face of an ox, and the face of an eagle. I got three. Yeah.
So there are four faces. One is a human. So
makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of weird way. You have to kind of pick through the language there.
Gotcha.
So every one of them had a human face, an ox, eagle, whatever the other one was. So,
gotcha.
Yeah. So yeah, and I've got some kind of interesting pictures too. Let's see if I can find them in here.
Let's see. I need to see what the Terminator would create for Ezekiel 1.
See, now that's what we need to do.
Let's see here.
Yeah, it's not in this one. It's in the other one. My best friend Michael Heiser drew some pictures.
Did you really?
Yeah, he did.
Was he a good artist?
No. He might have gotten these from somewhere. But yeah, here's a couple of pictures. You might okay, so there's a four-faced deity. That's not Ezekiel. That's a Babylonian figure. But then we got let's see.
I'll tell you what the creatures almost kind of reminded me of, especially when it talks about them outstretching the wings, is like the cherubim, the seraphim with that's kind of what pops in my head.
That's because that's what they are.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we're gonna discover all that stuff. These are not the right kind of pictures. These are examples of Babylonian pictures that were similar to what Ezekiel saw.
Gotcha.
But anyway, so yeah, we got all of these wheels. We got the appearance of metal. We got glowing metal. We've got let's see, what other kinds of images do we have? Well, we've got these strange four-faced beings. We got lots of wings, burning coals of fire, torches darting back and forth. The fire is bright, the lightning's flashing from the fire, and all these different living beings run to and fro like bolts of lightning. And so what a lot of people have said is clearly Ezekiel had a visitation of some sort, maybe even an abduction, because this whatever this mobile thing does, it takes him different places. It takes him in the middle of the temple, it takes him up to a high place, takes him, and so it's like, so Ezekiel got abducted
by aliens.
Yeah.
Clearly.
I mean, really that's the only logical answer in this.
Well, it's so funny because, I mean, obviously some of these people are the same people that go to Revelation and say, the locusts are Apache helicopters.
Yes. And I know some people that believe that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
There's our Ezekiel breakdown.
That's a little bit tame.
I was actually surprised. Yeah, I was actually surprised. It's not as metal as like normally.
No, that's a little soft. That's almost like something you put on your nursery wall.
It is. I'm gonna have to fix that.
And Ezekiel doesn't look very terrified.
No, he actually is kind of like, it's almost like that. He doesn't look really as afraid at all to me.
No.
Yeah, we gotta fix that.
Yeah, I think you need to work on that.
That's not nearly as ferocious as the picture that I had.
The Exodus image is way harder than that.
That is absolutely. And so there were a couple of guys that really popularized this whole alien abduction kind of notion, and they were very popular in like around the 60s or so.
Yeah.
There's this.
Wasn't there like a weird alien craze kind of in the 60s?
Absolutely, there was. Yes. And I had to print some of this out because
Peter was about 18 in that time.
18, 19. Yeah. No, I was born in 63. So when this first book came out, I was 5.
Did you read it?
Absolutely. My mom and dad wouldn't let me read no crap like that. You got to be kidding me.
I know you had the Christian science Christian place right down from you.
We did right down the road. And we always had to walk on the other side of the street around it. No, we couldn't. We couldn't even watch PG movies. Man.
Yeah, it was of the devil.
What about you? Did you have those kind of restrictions when you were a kid?
When I was at Grandma's house.
Really?
Yeah.
Your grandma was strict.
In a good way.
Okay.
But yeah. Mom and Dad, probably were strict, but also like when I complained enough, or
got your way eventually.
Yeah, I got my way eventually. So it wasn't that strict.
What about horror movies?
So they let me watch them, and I don't anymore because I can't handle it.
I can't.
I'm out. But at one point, probably like middle school, we would definitely watch a horror film.
Okay. So Bentley grew up among the heathens.
That's right. Because Peter and I both shared. We both were kind of like my mom was all in on the 90s Christian, like the 90s Christians were like hardcore.
Yeah. I love what Nate Bargatze says. His parents became Christians when he was right before he got to high school, and he said, Jesus had more fun than I did.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. He is great. If you don't know Bargatze, he's a good one to check out.
Yeah. He said they were the most Christian of anybody I knew. So
here's you a terrified Ezekiel now.
Oh, that's pretty good.
And it's got a more metal vibe to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Ezekiel, he definitely needs to change his drawers after that one.
Yeah, for sure. No, he's looking pretty rough right there.
Yes.
So there was this guy named Eric von Daniken, and he wrote this book called Chariots of the Gods. And this is why I had to write this out, because this is the most comical story, and there is no earthly reason why his books should have become popular. I mean, they're just
ridiculous.
Nothing about this guy or anything he did or wrote, but for some reason there was enough fascination with it that people just absolutely ate it up. So I'm just going to read a few of the little hot takes on Eric von Daniken. Wrote a book called Chariots of the Gods. It says the ideas put forth in his books are rejected by virtually all scientists and academics. Early in his career, he was convicted and served time for several counts of fraud or embezzlement and wrote one of his books in prison.
Nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Isn't that great? He was born in, Switzerland, I guess. Couldn't pronounce any of these names. He was brought up Catholic, attended Catholic school. But
became a Seventh-day Adventist.
Well, I was just going to say, this is the funny thing about it, is during his time at the school, he rejected the church's interpretations of the Bible. He just basically said, you guys have got it all wrong.
Wow.
I don't care how many thousands of years you've been doing this.
It's bold.
You got it all wrong. He developed an interest in astronomy and flying saucers. But at the age of 19, he was given a 4-month suspended sentence for theft. He left the school, was apprenticed to a Swiss hotelier for a while before moving to Egypt.
Wow.
Interesting.
It is. What drove him to Egypt?
That's a hard left turn right there.
No kidding.
Is there a lot of UFO sightings in Egypt?
I guess maybe with the pyramids and all the weird stuff there.
Well,
that makes a little more sense.
I worked with a guy back when I was machining that told me that the pyramids were built by aliens.
Oh, yeah. I've heard the same exact thing.
Were they not built by aliens?
maybe from people from a different country.
Yes.
That kind of alien. But in December of 1964, I was one. He wrote, Hatten und sehr vorfahren Beschuss aus dem Weltraum. That's what it was.
I think I read that.
I think you have to.
Yeah.
Basically, it's where our ancestors visited from space. He wrote it for a magazine. But then he was involved in a jewelry deal, which resulted in a 9-month conviction for fraud and embezzlement upon his return to Switzerland.
Man, this dude just couldn't do right.
No, exactly right. This is the funny part about his whole thing. He wrote this book while embezzling money from the hotel he was working at. He would basically take out loans in other people's names, guest names and things like this, so that he could have time to and resources to write and promote.
Well, that's legal, isn't it?
Well, if it's for a good cause, I suppose. But then he would he finally drafted this book, Chariots of the Gods, and it was turned down by every publisher. There was finally a publisher that was willing to publish the book after a complete reworking by a professional author. Utz Utterman. How about that name?
Utterman.
Yeah. Who used the pseudonym of Wilhelm Rogersdorf, because that's a much more easy name.
Yes.
That's much better.
That's exactly right.
Rolls off the tongue.
Who was a former editor of the Nazi Party's newspaper and had been a Nazi best-selling author.
They sound like two peas in a pod right there.
We got this little stew simmering.
Alien
here.
Nazis.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that was the whole Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep.
They got their faces melted off.
Yep.
It was accepted for publication in 1967, but not printed until 1968. And against all expectations, the book gained widespread interest and became a bestseller. In 1968, shortly after his book was released, he was arrested for fraud.
Good Lord.
Then 2 years later, convicted for repeated and sustained embezzlement, fraud, and forgery, with the court ruling that he'd been living a playboy lifestyle. And it goes on and on and on. He served 1 year of his sentence, so on and so forth. The book sold enough. He only got 7% of the book, but it sold enough to where he could pay back all of his embezzlement debts. And that's basically it. And so it's like,
never wrote another one.
He actually wrote a couple of others, but they were not ever published or widespread, But anyway, his claim is that extraterrestrials or ancient astronauts visited Earth and influenced early human culture. He thinks that the pyramids, Stonehenge, the Moai of Easter Island, and certain artifacts from that period are products of higher technological knowledge than is presumed to have existed at the times they were manufactured. He goes on and on and on. And then he explains the origins of religions as reactions to contact with an alien race and offers his own interpretations of sections of the Old Testament of the Bible.
Dude, I'm honestly wondering if the guy that I worked with didn't actually read the book legit, because he totally, he told me a lot of the same things. He was talking about apparently in the pyramids, I think there was some holes or something bored through some of the stone. And he's like, man, it was so smooth that they said there's not even we don't even have anything today that could have done that.
Yep.
And then the cubes were so perfectly squared. And so I mean, he was all in on this
Absolutely.
alien
He
thing.
may have read that book.
It sounds like he probably
It's very
did.
possible.
This would have also been around the time of Scientology coming on the playfield.
That's exactly right.
Like I was,
Exactly right.
and because that was in the 60s, wasn't it?
Late
Yeah.
60s. Yep. Have you ever heard about the Egyptian battery that they supposedly had invented a battery?
No, I haven't heard.
You need to YouTube that sometime.
Okay.
You'll find about 8,912 videos on why they
Egyptian
had battery. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You hang around with us long enough, your YouTube algorithm will be
It's going to
ruined.
be jacked up. Absolutely. Yeah, I got everything. Yeah, it's crazy. So then this guy, Joseph Blumrich, read Chariots of the Gods, and he was absolutely fascinated. Now, this guy is no dummy. He's a NASA engineer.
But I almost feel like some guys are so smart they're a dummy.
It very well could be. But yeah, he was awarded.
He looks like a friendly old man.
That's basically
does.
basically what he is. But he was basically he was most active in the 30s. So by the time he got a hold of this book, he was an older man. Yeah, 124. Yeah. But he was he served in the German army, was an Allied prisoner of war in 1945. He was the deputy chief of the Department of Hydraulic Structures at the United Austrian Iron and Steel Works.
Whoa.
Yeah, he came to the United States at the age of 46, worked at NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center in Alabama.
Smart guy.
On the design research for the Saturn V rocket, various satellites, Skylab, and the Space Shuttle.
So he probably would he have been like 50 or 60 when he read this book?
He would have been, it says he was chief of NASA's Advanced Structural Development Branch when he retired in 1974 at the age of 60. So back that off by 6 years, and he would have been 54 years old when he read this stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. This kind of...
Was he married?
Yeah. Yeah, he married Hildegard Anna Schmidt Elgers in 1935. Yeah. So anyway, this guy was, he invented stuff. He was like super interesting.
But he got into this.
He got way into this to the point to where he wrote his own book. And what is the name of his book?
I can actually tell you real quick.
Tell me what the name of this book is, because I only printed an excerpt from it because I thought it was fascinating.
The Spaceships of Ezekiel.
There you go. Spaceships of Ezekiel. Yeah, that sounds like a book an engineer would write.
It does. Yeah, the spaceship in 1974 said he tried to model Ezekiel's wills using engineering principles and concluded the text could describe a 4-propulsion landing craft.
Yes, that's exactly what this book is about. And I just printed off a little excerpt so you can get a flavor for where he was coming from. But he uses all of his engineering knowledge to reconstruct this thing.
This says NASA and Air Force era imagery made the idea sound plausible to 20th century readers. Whirlwinds, fire, and metallic light looked like rocket launches.
Yeah. But the interesting thing is he sort of writes in a creative, non-technical way. Listen to this is an excerpt from a chapter called "What Did Ezekiel See?" And he lists all the verses. He prints out all the verses all the way through verse 28. And it says, what does Ezekiel describe? His report begins without any introduction. He hurls the events of the first encounter at the reader with the same poignancy with which he himself had been confronted. The roar of the rocket engine ignited at that very moment explodes in the stillness and makes him look up. The flames of the engine are shooting from the center of a white cloud. Blinding light and a mighty roar come from there. The sky seems to burst open. The cloud allows a glimpse of 4 elongated shapes above, which something as yet undefined is moving. He goes on like this. Clouds are dispelled. The blazing fire of the rocket engine. He's talking about this stuff like this is exactly what it is. And here's a picture of
That's his theory.
spaceship. Yeah.
That's a pretty lame.
Yeah, he
spaceship.
says the spacecraft began its flight to the Earth with the separation from the mothership at an altitude of probably about 220 nautical miles. During the flight through the atmosphere, speed was reduced by aerodynamic drag until eventually at low altitudes, a brief firing of the rocket engine reduced the speed enough so that the spaceship could use its helicopters for the rest of the descent.
Oh, so those have propellers there?
That's exactly right. And I mean, here's a close-up of the helicopter
now,
unit.
he saw this at this point?
No, he's figured this out.
Okay.
Using his scientific knowledge, he is figuring out what he's interpreting Ezekiel, basically, is what he's doing. The spacecraft has landed, the reactor glowing like smoldering coals. Wheels, which were housed in the lower portion of the helicopter units during the flight, have now been deployed. The straight legs with their round feet no longer touch the ground. Wheels! Exclamation mark.
Now, I will say, and you were, I think you kind of hinted it or were getting about this, the way he's writing it, as a NASA engineer, I'm sure he could probably write it with some really beefed up lingo that I wouldn't even understand.
Yeah.
But he's writing it in a way that it sounds like the average reader could read it and understand.
Absolutely. He's not using any big words here.
Yeah.
And
it's kind of entertaining so far.
He's writing it with a degree of certainty.
Yes.
This is it.
So do you guys think that he would write this and believe it, or write it to be famous?
It sounds like he believed it, in my opinion.
Yeah, sure.
I think he believes it. I really think that he's looking at Ezekiel going, no, I know what that is.
Yeah.
I've got this material in my garage.
Yeah.
You know,
fair enough.
I designed something almost exactly like this.
Yes,
you know,
it's the same thing.
He was like, here's a movie reference for you. In Young Frankenstein, Peter has seen Young Frankenstein.
Seen that one,
have you seen it?
I have not.
Man,
I'm not a movie guy.
Well, you got to carve some time out for this one. This is a classic.
It is a good one.
But he is the son, or no, he's the cousin. I guess he'd be like a nephew of Dr. Frankenstein, and he inherits the castle and everything. So he goes from America to Transylvania. Well, he knows that his grandfather was reanimating the dead. And he's like, dude's crazy. He was a nut. He doesn't actually believe he could do it. But this pops the scene in my head. Like, I can almost picture this Bloomrick reading the book from the other guy. There's a scene in Young Frankenstein. He finds his grandfather's book that tells him how he reanimates the dead. And he finishes reading it, and then he looks up and it goes, "It could work." And that's like almost an imagine.
That's it.
That's what this dude's.
Well, and
it is possible.
Yes, it's possible.
And this is the way that he writes. He says, "What kind of wheels are these? Their color is a light greenish blue, and on each wheel he observes motions which he cannot comprehend, rotations unfamiliar to him from any of the wheels that he knows. It seems so. There's so much movement in every wheel. It seems to him that there is more than one wheel within a wheel."
Yeah.
He gets going. But I love the way. That he finishes this section. I hope I might not even have the last page.
Oh, no.
You're gonna hype it up like that, and then you're not gonna have it on you.
You have it memorized, right?
I kind of actually do have that last sentence memorized. But basically, he ends this whole chapter by saying, he sees the mothership descend, which is the throne.
Yeah.
And then he says, and the captain stands, and the captain speaks. He has finally met the captain.
Hey, that's good.
So the chief alien, basically.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
He has finally met the captain.
He's met the captain. So that's this is how it kind of all. It started well before that, but this is where it took off. It's where it got wings.
Nice.
It's interesting because that's what I had, like I said, ran it through my Chat GPT, and it actually gave a verse breakdown.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. Like
read a couple.
All right, this one says, verse 4. A whirlwind came out of the north, a great cloud and a fire enfolding itself. The UFO interpretation. The arrival of a glowing craft entering the atmosphere. The whirlwind equals propulsion, turbulence, or exhaust. Let's see. 4 living creatures. They had the likeness of a man. UFO, 4 humanoid figures or occupants seen around or within the craft. Each one had 4 faces and 4 wings. The UFO interpretation says symbolic description of multi-directional movement or multiple extensions, appendages on a single machine. Some imagine rotor arms or landing legs.
Yeah.
What did yours say?
A lot of the same
It's a lot of the
stuff.
same stuff.
So the coolest thing was for me, the one that honestly makes the most sense is where whatever this is doesn't it moves without turning its head.
Right.
Yeah.
So you could see like a spaceship kind of doing its thing, or UFO, whatever.
Okay, so I asked my friend Claude to give me, just kind of some bullet points on what makes this whole explanation sort of plausible. He says, here's the strongest case for the extraterrestrial interpretation. Number one is the technical precision of the description. He gives almost engineering-like specifications, exact measurements, how components move in relation to each other, observes mechanical behaviors. This reads more like a witness report than symbolic poetry. Why would a 6th century BC prophet use such technical language unless he was trying to describe something physically real that he didn't have vocabulary for?
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah.
Then he says the wheels within wheels as gyroscopic propulsion. They could move in any direction without turning. Just exactly what you said, Bentley. Remarkably like a gyroscopic or omnidirectional propulsion system. Joseph Blumrich drilled down on this. He said when he tried to construct what Ezekiel described, it matched principles of spacecraft design. Yeah. Then we see the physical effects on Ezekiel. He's physically affected, knocked to the ground, feeling wind, hearing loud noises like rushing waters or an army. He describes the appearance as gleaming metal or amber, materials and colors that suggest metallic spacecraft rather than spiritual beings. He says ancient people knew how to describe angels and divine visions. Why does this one sound so different?
Hey.
Then there's the descent pattern. The object comes down from the sky in what sounds like a controlled descent, appearing first as a storm cloud with fire, then resolving into distinct mechanical components as it gets closer. This is exactly how you describe something entering atmosphere from space. Heat, turbulence, storm-like, all that stuff. Then we get here it goes, the living creatures as crew or robotic components.
Yep.
The appearance of a man with non-human features. The synchronization of their movement sounds more like program machinery than organic beings. Cross-cultural parallels. Ancient cultures worldwide have stories of sky gods arriving in thunder and fire. If these were all describing the same phenomenon, actual extraterrestrial visitation, it would explain why similar imagery appears across disconnected civilizations. Might be that he was just a good observer.
Maybe.
Then there's the rationalist argument, which is more likely that supernatural beings and the divine glory of God literally appeared to one man, or that an advanced civilization with spacecraft visited Earth and primitive humans interpreted it through their religious framework. Okay, that's kind of weak, honestly. Why would he call it God? Of course he would call it God. They had no concept of extraterrestrial life or advanced technology.
Yep.
Why? What else? What other word would he have for it? Basically, it's the religious interpretation is simply the only framework available to him. And then the final argument is the abduction contact elements. He reports being transported, receiving information, and having ongoing contact with this entity. This parallels modern UFO contact abduction narratives. Chapter 3 describes him being lifted up and transported. Classic beam me up imagery. So are you convinced yet?
I don't know. It's funny timing that we're talking about this right now.
Why is that?
Have you heard of the 3I/Atlas? Either one of you all heard of that?
Not.
No.
All right. Somehow I'm not surprised. It popped up in my algorithm the other day.
Yeah.
But it is an interstellar object that's entered our solar system that scientists have been examining now.
Okay.
Nice.
And it looks like a ship. It's like a long thing, and they've picked up, and it's what did it tell me, like 120 million years away from, or whatever miles from the Earth. I pulled up stuff because I got to tell you, because it's pretty trippy. It's pretty wild.
Do it.
I didn't even know that there was like interstellar objects in our, that means it's from a different solar system. So I don't know, like that's kind of, like, I don't know. So did you know there's like apparently multiple solar systems?
I didn't really even think about it that much, honestly.
I was gonna say, well, like my mind's like, what does that even mean? Like other solar systems.
I guess there's another sun somewhere.
And see, they said this doesn't. The gravitational like pull of the sun has no effect on this object.
Wow.
It is here. So
why not?
And I'm gonna tell you. So for people that are curious, this is a real thing. You can Google 3I Atlas, all one word. It says it's traveling on a hyperbolic orbit, which means it came from outside our solar system, and it's only the third conformed interstellar object ever detected. The speed and trajectory show it isn't captured by the sun's gravity. It's just passing through.
Wow. So
I guess it's going so fast and but observations so far, it's giving off gas and dust like a natural comet. The gas cloud and tail behave the way we'd expect from solar heating of ices. Now, scientifically, they say nothing points directly to it being aliens. But where it gets weird, it says why people ask if it could be aliens. It accelerated slightly without showing any comet tail. Its shape was long and flat like a pancake or a cigar, and it reflected sunlight strangely. So it says it led Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb to suggest it might be an artificial probe, a solar sail, or alien artifact.
Wow.
I always think that pancakes and cigars look alike.
That is a really bizarre comparison, ain't it? Yeah. They're like, well, if you roll up the pancake, exactly, then it looks like it.
It's hard to keep lit, though.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes. So just thought that was interesting. On the topic of aliens, when we were talking about that, I'm like, I gotta tell you about the 3I Atlas.
Maybe that's what Ezekiel saw.
He might have seen the 3I Atlas.
If it was around back then.
Yeah, if they had rolled up pancakes back then. See, he should have said it resembles a rolled up pancake.
Maybe it's in there and I just missed it.
That's what I wanted to see. But y'all should take some time, look up the 3I Atlas. It's pretty trippy.
Maybe it says that in the New Living Translation.
Maybe so. Well,
there's probably a translation that says that with all the different translations in existence.
So this reminds me a little bit of the Flat Earth episode that we did.
Yeah.
Because, for a minute, it can kind of get you there. It's like we were thinking about, maybe the Earth really is flat. Because there's some...
there's some... People are smart, right? There's, like people can think up some stuff and make you believe it.
Yeah.
And we looked at... There's a preacher in Alabama, of all places. Roll Tide.
Shocker.
Anyway, yeah, I know. That he's got it figured out biblically.
Wow.
He will track you through all the verses.
And did you listen?
Yeah, I listened to a lot of it.
How was that?
I'm going like, And I went, no. Yeah. Just a little too many of them out of context, like way out of context.
Gotcha.
There's quite a few flat earthers around here.
Yeah, I know.
Did he at least start off strong?
He absolutely did. Yes. Okay. The first 3 or 4 examples, I'm going, okay.
I'm going to hook him.
Yeah.
And then I might have him.
Then he took a little bit of a hard left turn, and I went, yeah, okay. It just fell apart right there.
Yeah,
I know. But he is he's like a movement. He goes to big, conventions and festivals and all this stuff. Sets up his booth and lays out the whole thing. I don't know why it's so important to him that the Earth would be flat.
That was my next question. So how, from a spiritual standpoint, does that would that
because we're being held in by the firmament and then the ice wall.
That's it.
So basically here's where I get hung up on it, because our government, we can't get along with a lot of other government. Like we have trade issues and stuff, and it's like, so you're telling me that we've gotten all these governments to collude and be like, there's nothing out, because essentially all the governments would have to agree, like, we're not going to talk about what's outside the ice wall. Like, because they all say that there's an ice wall that holds us in, and that's where all the giants and stuff are, is outside the ice wall.
Yeah. If you ever make it out past the ice wall, there's a whole world out there.
I'll let you know.
Yeah.
What it's like if I ever make it.
Well, and it has... Surprise, surprise. It has implications about the end times.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, That's kind of the big deal. I watched. This is an hour and a half. I will never get back. I watched a whole sermon at an outdoor flat Earth festival.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they have these things. And this skinny guy got up there and preached for an hour and a half. He went through the whole darn Bible practically.
So when he pulled it all together, what was the
It was all about, how Jesus is going to come back. And, it was kind of, a little bit of a salvation message at the end. But it's like, you got to believe the truth of Scripture, because we're all being deceived that everybody's gone to space and other. He's like, no, there's a dome over there. It's a hard shell dome. And that's why you need to believe Genesis.
Gotcha.
And apparently, I don't know. And all the countries that have to agree that
that's what I'm saying.
We faked all of our space runs and the whole thing.
Yeah, there's no way.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure China would have to be on board, and they certainly wouldn't. They just ain't gonna be on board with us.
It's not happening.
No. So it's kind of the same way here in that, it's like, what are we seeing here? I'm like 90-something% sure we're not seeing aliens.
Well, that's how, the Bible, like reading this.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, it's an angelic beings that he's seeing. Like, there's no part of me that when I read the Bible and these kind of encounters happen, like, it's no part of me ever says alien.
No,
it's always okay. This is an angelic.
I think we may have a slightly different view than I guess the world, because we grew up and I guess in church and read like that. Never pops to that.
Yeah.
Before today. Yeah. Before you text
you weren't going around thinking it was aliens.
It never even crossed my mind. And then I read this stuff and I'm like, how did somebody come up with this? But it makes sense from what we read and you can see.
It does. Yeah. But really, it's all started with a guy who was involved in jewelry heisting and embezzlement. And
we should listen to him.
Yes, we should. What could possibly go wrong?
Hey, he's going to tell the truth in his book, I promise.
Yeah, he doesn't tell the truth in any other part of his life.
The book, yes.
But the book is the truth. Yeah.
Yes.
Because he has his own, he's so smart, he interprets the Bible his own way.
That's right.
Yeah. Okay. So in the time that we have left, I've got two things.
Okay.
And it's really cool. It's really cool. One is not from Michael Heiser and the other is. Okay. So basically, I'm just going to go down through kind of what we're looking at. What are we looking at from a biblical perspective? And also, okay, so we'll just get into it. First of all, we've talked about this a lot of times. We have to understand the genre of apocalyptic literature. Mm-hmm. Apocalyptic literature is not meant to be decoded as literal physical descriptions. In fact, this guy says, this kind of genre expects readers to ask, what does this mean? Not what would this look like if I photographed it?
So I shouldn't ask my Terminator.
Well, I mean, you can, and it'll be super creative, but we're not as interested in what are these literally.
Yeah.
It's what meaning are we supposed to get from it,
what does
right?
this mean? Yeah.
So, apocalyptic literature has highly symbolic imagery, has visionary experiences. Now, if you read a little bit further, in fact, all the way through chapter 3, verse 15, this is Ezekiel's prophetic calling.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about Old Testament prophets, this had to be a part of the whole equation. In order to call yourself a prophet, you had to have a miraculous calling. Isaiah chapter 6, he's in the temple and he sees the Lord. That's his prophetic calling. So, and once you get your prophetic calling, then it's like basically you do everything that the Lord tells you to do. You speak everything he tells you to speak, no matter what the consequence.
Yeah.
Ezekiel is known, among other things, as the performing prophet, because God asks him to do all of these. He has to shave off half of his hair. Oh yeah. He has to lie on one side for 90 days or something like this. He has to cook things over human excrement. All of these.
Best.
Yeah.
That one.
Yes. Yeah. And so this miraculous call is this is a big component. And when Ezekiel's writing this, he's one of the writing prophets as well. He wants the people to know how incredible this was, because this legitimizes him as a prophet. Otherwise, they wouldn't care to listen to him.
Makes sense.
Yeah, kind of like the guy who wrote Chariots of the Gods.
That's right.
Yeah. So then, you get bizarre composite creatures. You see the beasts in Daniel, and you see the images in Zechariah, and all the way through Revelation. And then there is an emphasis on God's sovereignty, or God's rule, or God's authority, shall we say. So when we get to what he's looking at here, if we kind of pull back a little bit and stop, kind of focusing on the minutia of how many eyes are on this and how many eyes are on that, and what we see here is that this is basically a mobile throne room of God. So we see in Revelation 4, we see the throne room scene.
Yeah.
But John is transported there. It's stationary. This is portable.
Yeah.
Almost like a tabernacle.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
I did read that earlier.
Yeah. It's hence the wheels, hence the, well, and if Daniel 7, the Ancient of Days is seated on a throne, fire coming out, and it's on wheels.
Yep.
It's Dracula.
So, yeah. And by the way, Daniel and Ezekiel were writing and prophesying at the exact same time.
There you go. Yeah.
In the exact same space. Only Dallas is up, Daniel is up in the palace, and Ezekiel's down with the commoners.
I thought you were going to say Daniels was in Dallas.
He was in Dallas. Yeah. I was talking about the
Jerry's World.
Yeah. No, I was thinking more about the TV show, honestly.
Oh yeah, he was in Dallas.
Yeah.
I think I remember seeing Daniel in Dallas.
I think he was. Yeah. Okay, so the living creatures are cherubim. They're not aliens. Cherubim are well-known figures in Israelite tradition, and we know this from what we just studied about the tabernacle, that cherubim are throne guardian figures.
Yep. So I was right in that.
Throne guardians.
So it doesn't say. Look
That's
at that.
Exactly
I don't get many rights. Mm-hmm. That's pretty
You
good.
nailed it.
Yep. Solomon's temple had massive cherubim. The tabernacle had cherubim woven into the veil over the Holy of Holies, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And this is very similar to other Near Eastern cultures. They had composite creatures all the time. What is the half man, half horse?
Oh crap!
Something. Yeah. Anyway.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Human-headed winged bulls, lion-bodied beings were standard temple guardians. Babylonian.
It's gonna bug me.
I know.
It's gonna make me centaur.
Centaur. Yeah.
I think that's it. Ain't it?
Brain. I think it is.
Yeah, that's got to be it.
So,
we're going with it.
These symbolize comprehensive divine attributes. The lion is strength and royalty. The ox is service and sacrifice. The eagle is swiftness and transcendence. The human is intelligence and relationships. Now, here's where it gets good to me, because I really resonated with this. Okay, we're talking about wheels and eyes, because they're the most confusing thing to me.
It's probably the most bizarre part.
So the wheels represent divine mobility. And keep in mind, he's speaking to exiles.
Yeah.
They have disobeyed God so bad that they lost their place in their land. They're feeling like nobodies. Okay. Yep. But the divine mobility, God isn't stuck in the Jerusalem temple. Yeah. God can be everywhere. The eyes are the same way. Omniscience. God sees everything everywhere.
Oh, that's good.
The intersecting wheels allowed movement in all directions, which means God has unrestricted sovereignty.
Oh, that's also good.
This is crucial theology for exiles. God had not abandoned them, even though they were beasts of dirt. By staying in Jerusalem, he came with them to Babylon and would be with them wherever they go.
So really, it's encouragement.
Absolutely, it would be.
Yeah.
This is the sovereign God, and he is here where you are. Mm-hmm.
This is a much better explanation.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
I'm with you. Okay, so now we get to the firmament. Now this brings us back to the flat earthers.
Yes.
Because flat earthers believe in the Old Testament concept of, the flat earth, and then there's a hard shell dome over the top of it, and this is where our weather comes from.
Yeah.
So the expanse or the firmament appears in Genesis 1. And here's the deal. God's throne, he sees through the firmament to the throne, the mothership.
Yeah.
And so God's throne is above this expanse. So he has transcendence over all creation. The crystal-like appearance emphasizes purity, clarity, divine otherness. And then we get to the image of the throne. All the ancient Near Eastern kings sat on elaborate thrones. Divine beings were depicted on thrones in art throughout the region. But then he says, in verse 28, he says, the appearance of a likeness of the glory of the Lord. triple qualifier there. The appearance of a likeness of the glory of the Lord. So this is theophany language, just like we saw in Exodus, just like we saw in Revelation. You don't get to see the whole glory of the Lord because you'll die.
Yep.
And so he is, just like Isaiah got to see the lower part, the train that filled the temple.
Yeah.
Did not get to see the Lord's face. And so he's just describing that. God showed me as much as I could handle humanly, right? Okay, so here's the explanation for why it sounds so technical. Ezekiel gives detail, and these are very practical reasons. First of all, because he's a priest. He's trained to notice religious symbolism and ritual detail. And that is absolutely true. The priests knew everything about everything. They knew how to weigh and measure. And, you read through the instructions for the tabernacle and you see exactly the size of the tassels and you see the colors and all the weavings and everything. So this is the world that he lives in. He's trying to capture something overwhelming. So the more detail that he can include, the more he conveys the reality of the experience. If you say, I saw this, it's like when you're reporting to the police, what was the make and model of the car, right?
Well, that's earlier my wife asked, what are you guys going? I have to read it to you because it's something in the sky, right?
But when you read it,
you can relay it and you can feel it and see it
And I think it really does add legitimacy. He's like, I really saw this.
Absolutely.
Because I saw the colors and I saw this.
Yes.
It's exactly right. Visionary literature often includes specific numbers, measurements, descriptions. It's all the way through Isaiah. Isaiah is super specific about everything he describes. Daniel was very specific. John in Revelation, you see the plumb line and you see the measurements of the New Jerusalem and all this stuff. It's all sent to, sort of project some sort of meaning there. It also serves theological purposes. Nothing is random. Everything means something. And then when we think about all of this stuff in the context of where they are, Babylon. So they're in Babylonian context. 593 BC, while exiled in Babylon. And so this context right here explains a whole lot more. So there is the crisis. Israel had been defeated. Jerusalem and the temple would soon be destroyed. Where is God? Well, the answer, God is not confined to the temple. His throne is mobile. He's present even in pagan Babylon. Then we see a lot of this Babylonian imagery. And some have said, well, it's so like other things we see in, ancient Near Eastern culture. Well, Ezekiel was just borrowing. He was just copying, It's like, no, there's a little bit of a strategy behind this. Ezekiel borrows imagery his audience would recognize.
Yeah.
So when he describes these composite creatures, he describes them in terms that they're already familiar with. And this would have been stuff that they would see on a regular basis.
Yeah.
So it's like that, but it's not that. It's better than that.
That's kind of, again, where we've said before, like, stop trying to put the stuff into our day.
Exactly.
I mean, because we're trying to take his descriptions of what they would have understood and put it to us.
And then, what happens here is it's like, you walk by that, that temple right there and you see that half lion, half man figure. Well, I got one that's got four faces. It's like every one of these would be like what they see, only better.
Yes.
Only superior.
No, makes sense.
So all of the materials, everything that he's describing, more elevated.
Yeah.
He says it reconfigures it to show Yahweh's supremacy over Babylonian gods. Then we get to the storm theophany. I mean, we know this from Revelation, and Exodus, God appears, lightning, thunder, splits the rocks. It's a giant storm. So him using storm language, there probably wasn't a literal storm,
Right.
It was just the appearance of a storm. It's a God storm. Yeah. He's just saying, that God storm. Remember, we've heard about it, read about it. It happened to me. The stormy wind from the north. Babylon came from the north. So God's coming to his people in the same direction. Yeah. I mean, this is good stuff.
If he wrote it today, he would have just said God appeared and it was metal.
It was, yes. Yes. And it was rad.
It was rad.
Yeah. We're reviving the word rad, by the way.
That's rad.
I know. Yeah. It is. It absolutely is. It's rad.
Totally.
Then if you look at the literary structure here, you have verses 1 through 3 is the context setting. Verse 4 is the approaching storm. Verse 5 through 14 describe the cherubim. 15 through 21 describe the wheels. 22 through 25 describe the platform or the firmament. And 26 and 28 describe the throne and the figure on the throne. So this is a very carefully composed theological statement.
Yeah.
You know, here
Not
we
an
are.
accident.
No, it's right. Here we are in this terrible place. God's coming from the same direction. And here's all the stuff that he's coming with. It's all.
No, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And so an ancient Israelite hearing this would think, cherubim, God's throne guardians. The wheels, God can go anywhere. The eyes, God sees everything. The throne, God still reigns. The glory, God hasn't abandoned us.
They would have understood.
Yeah, that these are nice aliens.
Yes. They come in peace.
Yes, that's exactly right. So that I think is a very, very good synopsis of kind of what we're seeing here. That the weirdness isn't a bug, it's a feature, and it's apocalyptic literature. He's writing in symbols, and he's using symbols because honestly, if he would have written every theological principle down, there would have been reams and reams and reams of everything. It's just easier to say.
The weirdness is not that weird to who is intended for.
That's the point.
Yeah, right.
That's the big point. It would not have been weird to them.
Right.
They would be going like, Ezekiel is legit.
Hey.
We're going to listen to what he says.
Could you imagine if it was the time frames were flipped? We wrote we wrote it from our understanding, and then they were reading it, they'd be like, "What kind of aliens were these guys looking at?"
Going on?
So,
but I mean, we use these kind of descriptive terms all the time. You know, I mean, the old man with leather skin rides into town in a cloud of dust in an old jalopy.
Yeah, you're talking about Larry King with the leather skin.
With his 2-year-old son in tow.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's exactly the way to put it. Like if we were to try to read that literally, you were like, all right, this dude had skin made of leather.
Yeah.
Like, what does that mean?
Exactly. Yeah, and sunken eyes.
Yeah.
We know exactly what it means.
Yeah, but what would I wonder how they would have interpreted that.
It could have been just about anything, but we know this guy's lived a hard life, you know?
Yes.
And you know, even I heard this example also about how we order food in a diner, you know, and all the terms they use, you know, for the stuff. And it's like, they know exactly what they're talking about, but you know, us outsiders, we would have no idea.
Like sunny side up.
Yeah. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Over easy even.
Over easy.
Yeah. You know, stuff on a shingle. Okay. So we got just enough time to ramp this up one more notch.
All right.
This is, and I've heard, this is Michael Heiser stuff. And if you don't know anything about Michael Heiser.
He was the man.
Yeah. He was the man. And he actually, I did not know this, but he lived about 2 hours away from where I grew up for some of my life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. He lived in Bellevue, Washington at the same time I was living there.
So how old was he when he passed away?
61.
Okay.
61. He passed away of pancreatic cancer.
Gotcha. Yes, that's right.
Because he was born a month before I was.
Wow.
Yeah. He just died about a year and a half ago.
People come from Washington.
I know. Because we got Bigfoot up there.
Hey, you believe in Bigfoot, don't you?
What? Who doesn't?
That's what I'm saying.
I mean, of course I believe in Bigfoot. I mean, the evidence is clear.
It is. It is.
Yeah, you need to go up. You know what, Logan? Honestly, we all need to go up to the Olympic rainforest sometime. I could show you.
Is that
some
in
pictures.
Washington?
It is. It's in the northwest corner of Washington. There's a mountain there, but it is literally a non-tropical rainforest.
Oh wow!
And when you walk through it, most of the time you can't see the sky.
Okay.
Because the trees and the moss
Just
and the
cover it
ferns,
all.
it's just it looks like something out of The Hobbit or something like that.
Nice.
And
I want to go
Where
there.
are we going?
Yeah,
we need to go.
I want to go.
Yeah, and you can sometimes you can regularly see elk through there.
Oh, that would be.
And,
Well, I've told you I have a friend that's legit Bigfoot believer. Like he's been on TV shows.
Wow.
He's been on like the Finding Bigfoot. Like he is a Bigfoot believer.
I asked the question earlier about the writings there that we went through, the book.
Yeah.
does he really believe, or does he like want to be famous? That's kind of where I land on this stuff that's so crazy. I'm like, there's no way.
My buddy with Bigfoot or this guy?
No, both, right?
My buddy with Bigfoot truly believes in Bigfoot.
He believes that
he will get mad. Like he will actually get angry at people if you like challenge him on it.
See, and with these two guys that wrote these two books, I feel like the first guy,
he sounds like L. Ron Hubbard.
You're right.
He's like, I think I could make some money off of this.
And then the second guy really took it seriously.
Yeah, that's Tom Cruise. Yeah, the second guy is Tom Cruise.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Michael Heiser's premise, and he was, like I said, went through his whole Bible study on Ezekiel, and I think that you will find this as compelling as I did.
All right.
Okay. This is his take on Ezekiel's vision. He says that not only are these familiar Babylonian images, and that they are sort of couched in a way and described in a way that suggests the superiority of Yahweh's court as opposed to everybody else's.
Yeah.
He says there's an element that takes it deeper, and that's the zodiac element. Because he argues that the four faces of the cherubim, the lion, ox, eagle, and human, correspond to four key constellations in the Babylonian zodiac. Okay. So the lion is Leo, the bull is Taurus, the eagle is Scorpio, and the human is Aquarius. What makes this particularly significant is that these four constellations are positioned at roughly 90-degree intervals around the zodiac. They mark the four corners or quadrants of the heavens, as they knew about the heavens. Yeah. So in Babylonian astronomical theology, these were cardinal points that structured cosmic space and time. And so when you think about, the Magi that came from the east, they were Babylonian. And so they saw something in the sky. And I watched part of a video, I have to confess, that said the wise men followed a flying saucer.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Did you continue to watch?
No, I just had to get a little flavor. I couldn't. It was 16 minutes long, and it's like I made it through about 2.5.
Yeah. Those are the ones that just speed up.
I know.
That was enough.
It was plenty. Anyway, so and the Magi were, basically astronomers.
Yeah.
And Daniel was the chief over the Magi for a good number of his career in Babylon. So he was involved with all this stuff as well.
Yeah.
So the whole thing about the wise men and the star and everything, how did they know what they were looking for?
Right.
And it was because of Daniel. Because Daniel was looking for it. Hey. And so he passed it on to the next generations.
Yeah, he let them know, and they let them know.
Mm-hmm. So they've been watching for it for the whole long time. So when it all lined up,
they knew exactly what was.
They knew.
Hey, there's
a king. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's exactly
How the crap does he come up with this, though?
Oh, man. If you go to his website and you go to his bibliography, that dude, he has a bibliography of footnotes and articles and sources for everything he's ever produced, and it is hundreds of pages long.
Logan, have you been on the website, or have you?
Yeah, what is it? The Naked Bible.
So that's the podcast. The website's like
drmhs.com.
Yes.
I think y'all have shown it to me.
Probably have.
Yeah.
But I went on there and just, a little search bar up there, and it's like Ezekiel 1 Vision. And he had numerous blog posts about it. And then there were links to all these other articles. And everything is so meticulous.
But it's just like, but I just wonder, how does this even like come to him? Like when he's reading it, at no point like would the constellations play into it.
No, here's how, this is why I love his scholarship. He really is a genius.
Yeah,
because he'll get onto something and he'll go, wait a second, bull, ox, lion, and they'll go, no, I read a journal article about ancient Near Eastern iconography. I went to a conference and there was a paper that was read about, and so he just like gets laser focused.
Yeah,
and then he's not reading this from Hebrew lexicons or anything like this. These are extra biblical sources that he goes and tracks down. And he had all these books, these huge, thick reference books on his shelf. He goes, oh yeah, I read that one. It's fascinating. It's like, it's just.
I wish I would have that smart.
It says that the co-host that was with him on the podcast, Trey Strickland, he said that Michael Heiser would organize his days into 30-minute segments.
Because that was all he could
Well, it's like, you know, and if I'm going to spend 2 hours, then I'll block out 4 of them, you know. But basically, he wasn't going to allow himself to, you know, he wasn't going to like overburden himself, but he always had to be knowing what he was doing in those 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like,
do you think he had a touch of autism?
Something, savantism or something like that. Whew. I mean, he was obsessed with this stuff.
Yeah.
So I've recently kind of took a deep dive there, and it's so interesting because I guess when he speaks, he's not very persuasive.
Right.
Like it's just matter of fact. And it's hard to follow in terms of like if you're driving down the road and you got something else on your mind.
I know.
However, it's also phenomenal because you don't feel like he's trying to make you believe anything.
Nope.
He's just like, sharing.
Here's what this says.
He'll always just go back to the text.
Yes.
And if you're reading something into it that's not there, he's just going to say, that's not in the text.
Right.
You might imagine that. Might be able to preach it that way, and it might be fairly compelling, but it's not there.
Yes.
So I respect that.
And I really respect his monotoneness.
I do too.
I really do. Like you
kind of get used to it after
he's not selling me anything.
No.
It's what it feels like.
No,
when
I
you listen
completely
to it.
agree.
He lets the facts speak for themselves, or like his research speak for himself.
Absolutely. And so here's some of this cool stuff about this zodiac angle. The evidence for this is that Mesopotamian astronomical sophistication, they were advanced astronomers. So we know this. The four corners motif, the four cardinal directions points. Now listen to this. The biblical precedent. The arrangement of Israel's tribal camps around the tabernacle in Numbers 2 uses 4 leading tribes whose standards and symbols tradition says match these creatures. Mm-hmm. So the 4 corners around the tabernacle are Judah, the lion, Ephraim, the ox, Reuben, the man, Dan, the eagle.
Well, look at that.
How about that?
Yeah. That's just a little too convenient.
That is.
Right?
Yeah.
And so later rabbinic tradition connects these faces to the 4 leading tribal standards. And then we see the same kind of thing in Revelation, right?
Yep.
4 living creatures around God's throne. Same kind of deal.
Dan should have been the bull.
You're right about that. So here is where Heiser's interpretation becomes powerful theologically, because we're dealing with now the polemic. Yahweh is greater than the zodiac and all of the characters and all of the gods that the Babylonians embraced. So they saw stars and constellations as divine beings, or at least controlled by divine beings, because they moved across the sky. They had energy, they had power, they were alive in some way. So the zodiac governed fate, time, seasons, human destiny. This is why the kings consulted astrologers, because they believed the heavens determined earthly events, and so you needed somebody to interpret what was going to happen, because the gods are in the cosmic system. They're part of its structure. So Ezekiel places these zodiac symbols, the 4 creatures, under God's throne as servants carrying the platform on which Yahweh sits. So the message is Yahweh isn't in the zodiac. He's above the zodiac.
Yep.
The cosmic forces that Babylonians worship are merely God's throne bearers. What Babylon sees as controlling gods are actually God's servants. So Yahweh created and commands the cosmic order. He doesn't submit to it.
So would they be a part of the divine council?
Yeah. Or at the very least, the throne guardians, the cherubim, that stuff.
Yeah.
So the structures that Babylon believes determine fate are under Yahweh's sovereignty. That's the whole deal. And then we get to the platform or the firmament detail. The crystal-like expanse, the firmament above the creatures, but below the throne is crucial. In ancient cosmology, the firmament separated the earthly realm from the heavens. By placing the cherubim with their zodiac faces below this expanse and Yahweh above it, Ezekiel emphasizes divine transcendence over the entire cosmic system.
Yeah.
I think that is
That's
good.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yes. And so he adds a little section in here, why this matters for exiles in Babylon. The exile crisis. Israelites are surrounded by Babylonian culture and religion, daily exposure to astronomical theology, And so their temptation is to think maybe Babylon's gods won. Maybe they now control my destiny. So now there's pressure to assimilate religiously and adopt Babylonian cosmic perspective. They just basically give in, throw up their hands, say nothing we can do about it. We've done messed up too bad. But then comes Ezekiel's reassurance. Those cosmic powers you see Babylonians worshiping, they're God's footstool.
Yeah.
The zodiac that supposedly controls fate, Yahweh sits enthroned above it. Babylon's astronomical gods, they're servants, not sovereigns. Your God hasn't been defeated. He transcends and commands the entire system. So, I love this. Rather than asking, was it aliens or God, we can ask, what was Ezekiel communicating to a people drowning in Babylonian cosmic theology?
Yeah.
So, that's basically it.
That's awesome.
It says, here's an interesting statement. Yeah, those could look like aliens, but check out this wild zodiac polemic interpretation. Yeah. So
I like how at the end of the day, it places or it shows Yahweh God is above all of it. Because that's something we see throughout Scripture. A lot of times there's some, I don't know if it's the right word, but there's almost a little hint of snarky in the Scriptures.
Completely
geared at the people that are like, oh, well, these are our gods. We worship these. And it's like, oh, well, our God's above those gods.
That's exactly right. There's this little sort of commentary line about this whole thinking. He says, Heiser's zodiacal polemic interpretation transforms Ezekiel's vision from a weird random collection of bizarre images into a precisely targeted theological missile aimed at Babylonian cosmic theology. It says, your astral gods that supposedly control fate, they're footstools.
Hey,
yes.
That's the word, Logan. Maybe not snarky, but targeted.
Targeted.
Yes.
That is a good word. Yeah.
That is
word.
The missile going. That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they are, and they always write it in a way where it's. Sometimes they even use some of the same words and language in there. Like it is very targeted. Yeah.
Targeted.
Absolutely.
That's the one.
And I mean, you think even about, you can go all the way into the New Testament. Even the story of the birth of Jesus is a polemic against, the traditional understandings of, the Roman occupation and the Greek occupation and things like that. You go into, Jesus on trial before Caiaphas, he's just throwing out all this stuff like, you're the high priest and you don't know this stuff. He'll say to the Pharisees, have you not read this?
Yeah.
Because if you'd read it, then you should know this.
Well, it's all interesting. I mean, there's like even some ironicness, like irony to it because, Jesus is the Lamb.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, when you think of the lamb, I don't think of the lamb conquering anything. Because it's like, it's a lamb. I mean, that's like a gentle animal that I'm imagining.
A helpless animal.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, if they're like a sheep, my dad always talked about how stupid sheep are. We used to raise sheep when he was young. And so it's just funny. I mean, the Bible it's got a lot of, I don't know. It's got a lot of good targeted in there. I'm just going to stick to that.
Interesting thing about this is this almost exact image or experience, vision, comes up again in chapter 10, because he's going through all of these performances, and then it kind of turns the corner to where he's doing more speaking than he is performing, and this little restatement of the vision is kind of a hinge pin right here. And he adds a few other little things. He adds, first of all, he speaks as if you already read chapter 1.
Right.
So it's like, that thing I was talking about. Well, that happened again, And so he says things like, he spoke to the man clothed in linen, said, enter between the whirling wheels under the cherubim and fill your hands with coals of fire from between the cherubim and scatter them over the city. And he entered in my sight. So he's going like, all the stuff you heard, well, this is what he's going to do with it now. Well,
and now did he name in Ezekiel 1, he did not name it the cherubim, did he?
No, he did not. We know that it's cherubim because now.
But wouldn't that right there defeat the alien argument?
It should.
I was going to say, if you just read to chapter 10.
We're not writing about Ezekiel 10. We're writing about Ezekiel 1. We don't need to worry about that chapter 10 thing.
Yeah, I was say that right there shuts down that argument, immediately.
But the funny thing is, well, it's not funny at all. It's really rather tragic. And so when Ezekiel's, communicating this second vision and with the coals of fire and scattering it out in the city, basically he is describing the glory of God leaving the temple.
Yeah. Mm.
So, that was supposed to be God's dwelling place. And this is why they were so despondent in Babylon, because now we can't worship. Now we can't, because we're not there. God's there. And then that's why this vision becomes important, because it's like, no, God's not there. In fact, he left about probably long before you got taken away.
Yeah.
So, and this giant throne mobile basically is hovering over the east entrance, right? And east is away from the presence of God, right? And then it lifts up and it picks up and it just goes. And that was it. And then he prophesies to these people that the temple is going to be destroyed. And they go like, how do you know that? It's not going to be destroyed. And then 3 days later, some people who just came from there said, guess what? The temple's been destroyed. Yeah. It's crazy. Ezekiel's an absolutely fascinating book. And it's one of those that, oh my gosh, do Christian people have so many opinions on?
Yeah.
And none of them are helpful.
Not even one.
Not really. I mean, when you get into the very last chapters of Ezekiel, the last 8 chapters, it talks about a new temple.
Yeah.
And everybody connects that with the reestablishing of the nation of Israel.
Yeah.
And so since that happened in 1947, now we're just waiting around for this new temple in Ezekiel to be built. And it's like, why do we need a temple? Because we're the temple.
We are the temple.
Why do we need a place for God's presence? God's presence is everywhere. But they're really hung up on this, that this is going to be the signal.
Interesting.
I know. Jesus is coming back. When you see the sign, when you see that temple being built. The funniest thing about it is...
Is that all we got to do?
Yeah, that's it.
You know how to build a temple?
I do. Let's go get some lumber. Let's get busy. But here's the funny thing about it is if you look at the dimensions of the temple in Ezekiel, it has this humongous, gigantic entrance and this tiny little outbuilding in back. It's like, that's not even a real temple.
That ain't it.
No, it can't be.
That's not the one.
No, no. So I don't know if anybody's going to write a book on here's what the new temple will look like, but it's not.
You should do it.
I really should, honestly. I'll bet we could feed all the materials and dimensions into your little chat.
Oh yeah, it definitely could.
And it'll pop up.
We could come up with a book pretty quick.
We need to do that.
Yeah.
Because people would see how ridiculous this temple's supposed to look. And then, there's all kinds of, mentions of all the precious stones that are going to be there. And they're trying to go, oh yeah, that's exactly the stones that were in the priest's breastplate.
Yes.
Only it's not. It is absolutely not the same. I don't know. That's it's just crazy.
Yeah. You're pushing back too hard.
Maybe I am.
Yeah.
So, all you people that are the 3 people that are left listening to this, tell us what you think about this. Tell us. Do
you think it's aliens?
Yeah, aliens. Aliens on a flat Earth.
Are you like Bentley and believe it's aliens?
Do you think it's aliens? And tell us why you're wrong.
Yes, exactly. Tell us in 3 sentences why you're wrong.
Yes.
No, it is a fascinating deal. And honestly, tell us if, kind of unpacking some of these other sort of viewpoints has helped you understand or changed your viewpoint to some degree. Maybe you've never, ever once even thought about Ezekiel 1 and the great vision, and this is your very first time being introduced to it. I'm glad because you got the right version the first time around.
Yep. Okay. There you go. Bentley, appreciate you joining us.
Hey, thank you guys.
It's been great.
That was awesome.
Been great. You can now go home and go to bed.
You can't. Yes.
I hope I can make it to the house.
Yeah, exactly. Might as well stop and get you a coffee on the way home.
Yeah,
for sure.
Guys, we ask that you leave us a comment, hit that like button, hit subscribe, share it with your friends, and leave us 5-star ratings on Apple and Spotify.
Yes.
And we will catch you next week.